Remember, don't try this at home.
We've got years of experience that keeps us safe.
Coming up on Mythbusters.
It's Myths Revisited, where we take you on.
There's crashes, bangs, and wallop in a Myths Revisited special. Can salami really work as a rocket fuel?
Stand back and come to get some rocket fuel out of the fridge.
Tori and Grant see if a hand braced on a windshield will stop it from shattering.
I'll miss you, buddy.
Then Adam and Jamie revisit the best way to drive a pickup truck.
This test is tailgate up, just like old times.
And finally, there's a battle of the blades. Can a sword slice through a machine gun? Who are the Mythbusters? Adam Savage and Jamie Heineman.
Aren't tracer rounds illegal?
Between them, over 30 years special effects experience.
That's what I'm talking about!
Joining them, Tori Belleci,
What could go wrong?
Carrie Byron,
Going for total annihilation.
and Grant Imahara.
I'm pumping as fast as I can.
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test.
The more we do this show, the more, I think, really committed we are to trying to get at least some kind of scientific approach to what we're doing.
Yep.
But I gotta say, I get a lot of angry email from fans complaining that you screwed this up, or you messed that up, or you guys have no idea what you're doing.
Yep.
Are you gonna say anything but yep?
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, this is another Myths Revisited episode. We're gonna take another stab at some myths that viewers found incredibly controversial, and the first one is salami rocket.
Yep.
In Salami Rocket, Adam and Jamie wanted to find out if luncheon meat could get launched.
3, 2, 1.
Hey! Look at that! 20 feet, man! What did I tell you?
But according to some fans, with this rocket, it's, Houston, we have a problem.
Well, I don't know what more the viewers want. We got the rocket off the ground.
Yes, but the viewers are saying that we did not get a bona fide ignition.
It flew.
Yeah, they claim that all we got was the release of nitrous oxide propelling that rocket. There was no actual ignition, just the gas alone and its pressure gave our rocket that launch.
I think now would be a good time for a graphic. Their original rocket was a 2-tank hybrid rocket. The bottom half contained the salami rocket fuel, and the top, the fuel oxidizer, liquid nitrous oxide, or NOx. The theory was that on ignition, the salami gently smoldered until the NOx was released with explosive results. But some fans think that the salami was never actually alight, so the thrust they got was thanks only to the release of the NOx.
So we have to retest it. This is just a total proof of concept, just to see if we can get ignition between the NOx and the salami, and to see if that ignition produces real thrust.
Huh.
To find out if their rocket was a NOx no-hoper or a salami sizzler, the Mythbusters have dusted off their original plans.
Rocket fuel!
So, first things first, it's back to the butcher's board.
Remember, the bandsaw was invented for cutting meat.
Just like last time, Adam's starting by shaping the salamis so that they'll fit snugly into the rocket.
Disgusting.
And just like last time, Adam's suffering from innuendo overload.
Too many jokes.
With Adam showing the restraint of a saint, he heads on to tackle another viewer complaint, the graphite exhaust nozzle. Despite Adam's silky skills, there were some fans who thought his original nozzles were not strong enough.
So, I've made the new ones, which with a much thicker lip. Should provide a lot more material and provide a lot more strength.
Come launch time, these reinforced nozzles should do the business. But for this experiment, the term launch is not entirely accurate because they're going to do these tests locked down.
We're going to do the Salami rocket revisit bench tests right here outside the shop, but inside the bunker. Now, this bunker is specifically designed to be able to contain things like flame and explosions and projectiles that we don't want to expose ourselves to.
And to get some data without a launch into the sky, Jamie's built a special clamp that will hold the rocket in place.
That looks pretty nifty.
At each end of the clamp, he's putting force meters that should measure the amount of thrust the lockdown rocket gives off on ignition. That's the theory. And with countdown approaching, Jamie puts the finishing touches to the rocket fuel, an inner coating of gunpowder.
This is an invention of mine. This is called self-cooking meat.
So while there won't be a vertical launch, with salamis, rockets, and gunpowder, there'll still be some fireworks. Now it's time for things to get rough.
Good to go for run number 1, 15 miles per hour.
When the team tested the myth about driving on rough roads,
Paramedics are nowhere to be found.
they found that for a smoother ride, the faster you go, the better. But now, fans want to know something new.
Well, Grant, I understand you have an interesting side myth here.
Yep, and it has to do with rocks on the road. And if you have a vehicle approaching you, or if you're following one that might kick up a rock into your windshield, you put your hand up on it and apply pressure. And
That
doing
looks
this
pretty nifty.
will save your windshield.
might
if
kick up a rock
into your windshield.
It's
Put
another
your
car
hand up
caper.
on it and apply
Can
pressure.
bracing your hand against the
Doing
windshield
this
Pretty nifty.
will
really
save your
prevent it from
windshield.
being
Might kick up a
shattered
rock
by
into your
roadside
windshield.
shrapnel? It's
Put
another
your
car
hand up on it and
caper.
apply
Can
pressure.
brace to test this driver's dilemma, rather than using Jamie's hammer, Grant and Tori are actually going to fire rocks at windshields with that childhood favorite, the slingshot.
1, 2, 3. Did you guys see where that went?
But of course, they're not just going to release rocks at random. Instead, Tori's built a rig that should fire with pinpoint accuracy.
I think that's gonna work just fine.
But it's not just the aim that's important for this shootout.
Well, I'm setting up the chronograph so that we can get an idea how fast Tori's slingshot is throwing those rocks. Our target velocity is somewhere in the order of 70 miles per hour.
With the chronograph up and running and Tori's focused, everything's set for a speed test.
I'm gonna stand behind you.
Okay. Why, Grant?
Remember, they're looking to hit 70 miles an hour.
3, 2, 1.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, 67 feet per second, 45.7 miles per hour.
45 miles an hour. So we need another at least 25 miles
Right.
faster. Okay.
To crank up the speed, Tori yanks the elastic 8 inches further back.
Whoa! You almost hit the chrono,
It went
man.
right through the box.
Jeez. Perfect. 76 miles per hour.
Okay.
Now they just need a car. Check. A handful of stones. Check. And a blanket to catch any ricochets. Check. And with the list checked off, they're finally ready to fire at the windshield, both with and without Grant bracing it with his hand.
All right, Grant, I'm ready to start breaking windows with rocks. But before I stick you in that car to shoot it, I want to make sure we can actually break a windshield with the rock.
Okay. Don't let that thing go.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Perfect shot.
That's a pretty good hit. Okay. No shattered windshield.
At 70 miles an hour, there's no broken glass, even without the hand. They try again, but this windshield is a tough nut to crack. So next, they decide to go for broke.
Well, since Jamie passed this kidney stone, we figured it'd be suiting to shoot it through the windshield. This is a 150-gram stone. We're gonna see what kind of damage it does.
Surely this monster will get the result they're after.
Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
But no, there's a spiderweb crack, but no full-on shatter, which means it's back to the drawing board. Still to come, will the baloney go ballistic?
1, go. That sounded like a hell of a thump.
But next, talk to the hand. Will the windshield get shattered?
3, 2, 1.
You can protect that schoolgirl complexion with Duplate safety glasses.
There are a whole host of ways to strengthen a car's windows. But is it true that your hand, braced up on the glass, can make it unbreakable? Well, Tori and Grant are on the case, but so far they're struggling to even shatter a windshield in the first place.
Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Whoa!
And after a quick research break, Grant discovers why.
I think we've been having such difficulty with this windshield myth because we've been using laminated windshields. And here in America, it's been common practice to use those since the 1920s. Well, what I think is that this myth comes from other countries where they've been using tempered glass windshields up until 1994.
Tempered glass should be much easier to break. So to kickstart this myth,